Hello friends, I'm Kerry Farr. Welcome to today's edition of In Your Corner. Now obviously you can see we're not in the studio as normal. We're in Merritt, Florida, and we're at Ken and Lisa Henderson's church, Salt Life Church, here in Merritt Island. And it's absolutely a beautiful place, and we want to thank them for allowing us to use their studio here today. And I'm joined by my friend of 30 years, Benito Ortiz. Benito was a world-class boxer back in the 1960s, later on was a trainer, and he has a very interesting life and an amazing testimony. Benito, thank you so much for joining me on In Your Corner today. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, you know, I know your history because I've known you for 30 years, but you started out as an amateur boxer in your native Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And so then you went to New York City and you started boxing in New York City. Tell us a little bit about how all of that began for you.
Well, it's not easy, but it's in Puerto Rico. I've been started boxing at 17 years old, and in 1957 I going back to New York, and that's where I started boxing in New York.
So life was really tough back in the 60s in your native country, which is, Puerto Rico, which is, part of America. But you grew up there and you went to New York for a better opportunity?
Yeah, I went up to New York to live with my families and make better, and fight it too, I want to get my careers in New York.
And so you started out boxing as an amateur, and you started going to a local gym and learn how to box?
Well, he take me to a local gym. I find out my friend Gil Diaz saw me fight in the street, and I come out a guy in the street.
You knocked a guy out in the street, and he said, "Why don't you go to the boxing gym?"
Yeah, he take me to the gym.
And did you end up at Jimmy Glenn's gym first of all, or somewhere else?
No, I went to Jimmy Glenn gym.
All right, and folks, if you don't know, Jimmy Glenn is a famous boxing figure, known and loved the world over, was a famous cut man, trainer, had boxed in the early days and actually fought, the great champion Floyd Patterson when he was a young man.
Yeah.
And so he was your trainer. He was like your father to you.
Yeah, he's my trainer for all my career, all my amateur and professional.
And so when you started fighting as an amateur boxer, in those days, to win the New York Golden Gloves, it was like almost winning the Olympics because there were so many fighters in those days. You had to be very good to win the Golden Gloves.
Oh yeah, you have to fight more than 25 before to go to the finals, the semifinals, and be a champion Golden Glove in that time. It's like you be a champion of the world.
Yeah. So what you had to do is you had to fight, like you said, over 20 times before you got to the finals in the New York City Golden Gloves. And it was, New York and Chicago were the big cities in those days where you had the big Golden Gloves. One year they'd have the Nationals in New York. The next year they'd have it in Chicago.
Yes.
So you won the Golden Gloves in New York City, and there was a famous manager there who managed the great champion Emile Griffith, and his name was Gil Clancy.
Yes.
And Gil Clancy saw you somewhere, and he said, "Hey, I like that kid, and I want to sign him." Tell us about that. What happened?
Well, it's Jimmy Glenn is very friend of Gil Clancy's, and he talked to him about me. And Gil Clancy and Emile Griffith been watching me fight amateur, Golden Glove, and Gil Clancy told him that he want to see me before the sign, and he take me to the gym, and he saw me sparring, and he said, "I like this kid. I like his stock," and then he signed me for professional.
So Jimmy Glenn took you to a gym where Gil Clancy's gym, and you sparred with somebody, and Clancy said, "I like his style.
Yeah.
I want to sign this kid." So were you excited? I mean, this great famous manager signed you at that time?
Well, listen, Kerry. In that time, I don't know if Gil Clancy like I know.
Yeah.
In my career.
You didn't know who he was.
No, I just he's another man like Jimmy Glenn, and I signed because I want to be a pro. I want to be a professional. All my life I want to be a professional, and that's what I signed for him. I don't know that he's gonna take me all the way to where I went. You know.
But you know what was amazing was here you were in your first professional fight. Gil Clancy was such a great manager that on your very first fight, he got you a fight where?
In Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden, the most famous boxing venue in the whole wide world.
Yes.
People dream of fighting at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
And in your very first professional fight, you're fighting underneath a heavyweight fight that night. And who was the fighter that was the main event that night?
Cassius Clay and Don John.
All right, so that night, Cassius Clay is fighting Doug Jones in the main event, 10-round main event.
10 round.
One of the fights that they thought he actually got beat in, but they gave him the decision. Now, for those people that don't know, Cassius Clay later became Muhammad Ali when he became a Muslim. He changed his name to Muhammad Ali. But you're fighting your very first fight on the same card with Cassius Clay, and here you are fighting in a 4-round prelim fight. You saw Cassius Clay at the weigh-in. You were right there with him.
Yeah,
Right?
when the way when I was in the room, and the same night that he fought, he lost the fight. But the same night that he fought, I take a picture. I got a picture on my album. Cassius Clay laid down on the corner, and he's in his room because he get beat. He get beat.
Discouraged that
He get beat.
Yeah. Now, did he do anything crazy at the weigh-in when you saw him that time? He was a young guy, and he was saying, "I am the greatest." And
well, the ways he beat in the 31st Street and Broadway, the commission used to be there. Yeah, he just do his show like they do all the time, you know.
was he running his mouth?
Yeah, he
I
run
am
his
the
mouth
greatest.
and the great, you know. For at that time, Clay not so famous like the way after he beat that fight, after he get that fight, and Don Johnny been quiet. Don Johnny been quiet.
He was quiet, but
a strong man. You know?
Clay was running his mouth.
Yeah, Clay said, "I'm gonna knock you out," and you don't do it. You can't do it.
He didn't do it. And Jones, you know, I mean, if the decision had gone the other way. Now, the matchmaker was a guy by the name of Teddy Brenner. And Teddy Brenner was known as, you know, the toughest matchmaker and the greatest matchmaker in boxing. But he was at Madison Square Garden. He didn't put nobody in easy. He wanted everybody to have a tough fight. He wanted the guy that you were fighting and you to nearly kill each other. And he almost got Cassius Clay beat that night. But he wanted tough fights because people would pay to see tough fights.
Well, he gave me the tough fight for my dream is being win. I'm not come out the guy at the first round.
You knocked him out in the first round?
First round, yeah.
So he didn't know. What did you get paid? I mean, it's amazing. People don't get paid hardly anything. People think that everybody in boxing makes millions of dollars. But you didn't make nothing in those days for that fight, did you? Do you remember what you made?
And my first fight professional in Madison Square Garden, $150.
$150 to fight in Madison Square Garden. Now, it's you know, you say that, but there are many famous fighters that started out making $150, $200 their first fight. So you go on throughout your career and you end up fighting how many times in Madison Square Garden?
Well, I fought like 12 fights in Madison Square Garden. I fought 3 fight, 4 round, 3 fight in 6 round, 2 fight in 8 round, and 4 fight 10 round.
You had all of those fights, 12 fights in the world-famous Madison Square Garden.
Right.
So you on top of the world.
Yeah, but no money.
You're on top of the world with no money. But you were probably spinning those days too, did you?
No, well, you know how much you make in my first fight in Madison Square Garden is like a semifinal fight, 10 round, $1,500.
You made $1,500 to fight a 10-round.
Yeah.
$150 a round.
Right.
You know, and it's, you know, you weren't making any money, but Gil Clancy was grooming you to be a world champion boxer.
Right.
He already managed the great Emile Griffith, who I think, 3 or 4 time world champion, right?
Yes.
Did he ever make you spar with Emile Griffith?
Yeah, I sparred with Griffin, and Griffin saw my future is I'm better than him where he started young. you know.
Yeah.
And he told him, Benito, he's gonna be better than me. The way I saw it. And,
So the great Emile Griffith said after sparring with you that you were going to be a better fighter than him.
yeah,
Now, what people don't understand, you were fighting featherweight, 126 pounds. Griffith was fighting welterweight, was a champion at 147.
Yes.
So he was 21 pounds heavier than you. And so you're in there having to spar with this great fighter.
Yeah.
But he knew you could move and he knew he could box.
and I can hit,
And
and
you
I
can-
hit it. I hit it hard,
Yeah.
and he know, and he come to me to try to put me out.
He tried to knock you out.
Yeah, because I know, hey, you better hold your hand. And he told me, and I said, I don't want to hold my hand. I hit it hard, and he said, I'm going to knock you out in the ring.
Oh, so
Yeah.
he told you better not hit him so hard.
Yeah.
Then he came and tried to knock you out.
Yeah,
A little competition back. Now, he was from the Virgin Islands, right?
right.
So he was from the Caribbean just like you. I mean, you came from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
That's it.
Now, so what happened was Gil was getting ready for you to fight for the World Championship. Gil Clancy, the great manager. And he says, I'm going to send you to Puerto Rico to fight. And you're going to fight Gregorio Benitez Jr.
Right.
Because the great Wilfredo Benitez was one of the sons, and Gregorio had another son named Gregorio.
Yeah, featherweight.
Featherweight. You were going to fight him. And so you go to Puerto Rico, and it's the week of the fight.
Right.
And I know they do this all the time in boxing because I spent 30 years in boxing myself. The week of the fight, they change your opponent.
Yes, sir.
And they put you in with a guy that's much bigger and much heavier than you.
Yeah, Roman Blanco
Ramon Blanco
from Venezuela.
from Venezuela. So you're fighting this Ramon Blanco from Venezuela, and you're doing very well in the fight against the guy.
Well, we beat it by decision, and I get too more comfy because a lot of people they told me they're gonna knock me out in first round or second round because it's bigger than me, but now I started moving and I've been beat it, and I get too more comfy and I put my hand down and I start playing with hand, and that's what get me right here with a punch.
Okay, so you were boxing the guy's ears off, and you got confident, and you tried to do a little Cassius Clay or a little
Right,
Muhammad Ali.
right.
You dropped the hands, started, playing with the
Yeah,
guy,
it's scared.
and the guy hits you behind the head. And what happened? Did it knock you out?
Yeah, it get me down to the floor. I hit the floor with that spot on my hand.
Hit the floor with
And
your head.
I never woke up.
You didn't wake up for like how long?
Hey, I wake up about 24 hours later.
20? Were you in the
And
hospital?
The hospital.
They took you to the hospital,
Yeah.
and so then they said, well, he's okay, and they put you on an
Yeah.
airplane and sent you home, right?
Right.
And so you get home, and you take a taxi to your house in New York City. You were in the Bronx in those days?
Yeah, you tell you in the Bronx, yeah.
So you get home, and your wife is pregnant. You knock on the door, and then you pass out right there at the front door.
Right there I pass out from my wife on the floor. Right away you open the door, I pass down.
So you pass out, and then they take you to the hospital, and you're in a coma.
Right.
For how long?
For 3 months.
3 months in a coma.
Yes,
and you
sir.
didn't know nothing for 3 months.
Nothing. I don't remember nothing. I forget my life.
So what happened when you woke up?
When I woke up in the hospital, I get crazy. I lose my control. They had to tie me. My wife told me.
So
that-
they strapped you in, kind of
Yeah.
like in a straight jacket, or so you couldn't move and harm yourself or harm anybody else.
Yeah, because I don't know what happened. I don't know what I'm there. I don't know. I don't remember nothing about the fight, how to get in the hospital, and then my wife started told me what happened with me.
So basically, you were being groomed to be a world champion boxer, and you were one step away, and they put you in with the wrong guy,
Right.
and you get knocked out, and you're in a coma for 3 months. So obviously that ended your boxing career. You couldn't box anymore.
Yeah, well, my favorite, and boxing never gonna quit. And when I get out of there, I wake up like nothing happened, and now I take 1 week later, I take all my equipment and went to the gym. I want to fight again. And when I went to the gym, Jimmy Glenn told me that, no, I don't want to let you fight. And I said, I want to prove you that I can fight. I put the gloves and I started sparring with a guy, and I see him twice. My vision, I see he saw
You were
twice.
seeing two
Two persons.
persons, so it messed you up. And
Yeah.
Jimmy Glenn let you spar, but he said, no, I can't let you fight
You
anymore.
know, and then we take me to the commission, the doctor, commissioner, Dr. Campbell. He told me that I can't fight no more because I got a muscle in my eyes.
So it messed your muscles up in an eye,
Yeah.
and your career was over. And so then you became a boxing trainer.
Yes, sir.
And so you started managing the famous Times Square gym for Jimmy Glenn.
Right.
Tell us some of the fighters you met while you were at the Times Square gym.
Well, I met Julio Cesar Chavez,
Cesar Chavez,
Hector Camacho,
Hector Camacho, you knew Camacho.
Mike Tyson,
Mike Tyson,
Holyfield.
Evander Holyfield,
Yeah,
all of those guys.
All of these kids, and more and more, you know, I met a lot of fighters there. You know, I mean, I used to run the manager too, and you had to come to me to make a contract to come to the gym. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's what happened.
So you managed the Times Square gym, and all of the great fighters that fought in the Garden had to come to your gym to get ready to fight.
Right.
So the managers and the fighters would come see Benito.
Yeah.
And in those days, Benny, I mean, I met you through the great boxing manager David Wolf, who managed Ray Mancini and Donnie Lalonde. And so I remember seeing Dave Wolf, and he said, I said, hey, how's my buddy Benny? We call Benito Benny. He said, I was at a weigh-in recently, and Benny was chasing a guy with a knife.
Yeah.
So in those days, you didn't live what we would call in church a righteous life. You were living a wild and crazy life.
Yeah, I live a wild life, and for me, I believe that I live two lives in one. In my home, and my gym. In my gym, I got one life. My home, I got another life. I get out my home every.
Of course, you had a beautiful wife, Sonia.
Yes.
Was a Christian lady.
Yes.
Your sons, and they were all praying for you when you were out there in the street living the wild, and when you were, you know, gambling and drinking and partying and chasing people with a knife.
I do everything.
You do everything. You're doing cocaine. You did all of that stuff.
Right.
And they're at home praying for you while you're out here living this wild and crazy life. What was going on in those days with you?
Well, what happened is, I don't know, people say that you got like a John, you're going to be a John again. And I get out my home to the gym Friday. I do that every weekend, Fridays and Saturday.
You go party.
So, go party, go hang it out. And sometimes when I get out the fight, I don't show out of my house. I go to the club, you know, like it happened with that I go to a fight in Atlantic City. I go there, work with the fight. I come back home. I don't come back home. I go to the club, hang it out, and then I be home about 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's what we do every weekend. And you know, that
was your lifestyle.
It's my life.
You had fun, but you had no peace. You had no happiness.
No
joy.
No. And no money. I do my money on the place that I have.
You'd spend all the money, so you're broke all the time.
Right.
And, you know, what happened? What was it that changed your life?
Yeah, so one night I get out the Madison Square Garden. I've been working with the fighters.
So you were at the fights at the Garden?
Yeah, that's a Saturday. That's a Friday. And then Friday I went to come on to my house. I went to my house. I went to the bar, to the club.
Yeah.
My friend on 112th and 2nd Avenue. I've been hanging out there, and this guy, he first want to fight with me, and I want to fight, and I told, hey bro, I want to go home. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll be drunk. I'll be all messed up.
So you're drunk and all messed up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
3 o'clock in the morning, yeah. I'm going home. I live on the 8th floor and the projects. And I opened the door. You know, when I opened the door, I just go into my room with my wife, and the door is closed. I'd like to go get in the door, in the room, and I knocked the door.
She's unlocked the door.
She unlocked the door, and then he told me, "No, you're not gonna get inside here," you know. Then when I look into the side, I see all the
Your
his
clothes?
clothes and everything, his clothes, and his clothes on my son on the floor. He planning to leave me.
Your
And
wife is going to leave you.
Yeah,
Because
she's
of the
been
way
tired.
you've been living.
Yeah.
She's tired of it.
Yeah, and then I lay down on the sofa, and the radio, Radiovisión Cristianas,
A Christian station was on the radio.
Spanish. My wife only got that Christian station on my house now.
So she was listening to it,
Yeah.
and you're listening to a preacher
Yeah, I listen to the preachers, and the preachers start talking about me
in Spanish.
in Spanish.
Yeah.
He told me, who you think you are? You know, you got a good family. You got two great sons.
He said, the preacher started talking about you.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? You got a
Yeah.
great family, you got a wife, you got
Yeah.
2 sons, and you're sitting there, and this guy doesn't know you.
He said, you know what? You have to do what you're doing, and stop it. You're gonna lose your wife. You're gonna lose everybody. And
You're
I
going to lose
say,
your wife, you're going to lose your family.
and I say, oh my God, this guy talking about me.
The
You
Holy
know.
Spirit got a hold of you.
And then I started crying. I
Started
started
crying.
crying. I've been drunk. I've been real drunk. I stink. I've been drunk. And the guy say, the only thing you can do, and the only thing that can save your life is Jesus Christ. And I say, I get the phone. He say, I'm talking to the guy. I take it to one. The guy say, I don't talk to everybody. I talk to one person. And this person you're going to call here now. Hallelujah.
You picked up the phone and called the guy.
Yeah, I pick out the phone and I call him and I told him, hey, you talk about me. My name is Benito Ortiz. And he said, I don't talk about you. He said, Jesus talked to you. And I said, I want to say Jesus like my salvation. And after that, he gave my heart to Jesus. And it's going to be 27 years.
27. And see, I knew you before you became a Christian, and we're out of time. And I knew you after you became a Christian, and now it's different. You've been living for the Lord 27 years.
Yeah.
So if somebody is out there watching the program right now, and they're living a wild and crazy life, you're going to tell them just like that man told you. What are you going to tell them?
Well, what I'm going to tell you is the first thing that I'm going to tell you is I gave you time to God. That He gave me opportunity to know Him. For I gave a time to God to meet you because you teach me something that
I had an
plan and
opportunity.
lead.
I had an opportunity to minister to you
Yeah.
for 5 or 6 weeks and teach you the Word of God. And but Benny, I love you, my brother. It's what a wonderful thing the Lord's done in your life. Are you more happy now than you were when you were living in the world?
I'm more happy. I feel more strong like before. And God, He gave me what I need.
Amen.
He gave me my family back. He
And
gave me,
now you live in Florida.
yeah, and I live in Florida. My son is a preacher.
You
He's
got a son that's an
Yeah,
evangelist.
my son is evangelist. Benito Jr. My other son is he got more than 200 kids, and
That he
the
ministers to.
Royal Rangers.
Royal Rangers and ministers to the church.
I mean,
Life
I've been
is
blessed.
wonderful.
I've been blessed.
Amen.
I've been blessed, and my wife he forgave me. I asked my wife forgive me for everything
And
that
now
I'm doing.
you've been together 52 years.
Been together 52 years, and we
Amen.
stayed together.
Benny, thank you so much for joining us on In Your Corner today. We're out of time. Friends, I just want to say to you in closing, if you're out there living in the world, losing everything that you have, losing your wife or your family, you can do the same thing that Benito Ortiz did. Just say, Lord Jesus, I'm a sinner. Come into my heart and save me. He's no respecter of persons. He will come in and save you just like he did. Baby Ortiz.